Hello and welcome to the Hutchinson Veterans Outreach Program. This is Tim Burley, and I know we've had you on our show before. It's been a while though. There's been a lot going on, and I hear you're still the commander over at the American Legion, and that's the building we're in now. Now I just want to give everybody kind of a relocation thing of where you're actually located as well.
Sure.
Because you're right here in Hutch, so.
Sure, and in Hutch directions is a lot easier. It's like the old school, go to the tractor, turn left, and go to the rock.
Exactly.
We are over by the Cenex on the east end of town, over by the 3M's back entrance, in the Richard Larson construction building on the south end of that. So on Adams Street, and I'm going to get the address messed up if I say it, so it's in the 600s, I know that, but we've been here for 5 to 7 years now. I get my math mixed up, but we have professional offices. We have this great conference room for our executive committee meetings. Recently, the commander now has an office at this location because I put time into being in the office, so when veterans have crisis or issues or want to talk about what's going on in the community, we have somebody here. Exactly. Our office assistant is here pretty much every morning, typically from 8 to noon.
Okay.
Our gambling managers are here in and out, and so if all else fails, call the number, and I'm 3 minutes away and can meet with a veteran here, and I've done that before where they've called and had a crisis, and we just meet here where it's private and professional, and that's what we want to be as a professional organization assisting our community.
Exactly, exactly.
So within the last year now, since COVID, we did a lot. I know personally I did a lot more outreach with COVID. We added some programs and assistance funding for veterans in crisis. We've had some mental health crisis issues, suicide issues, physical issues. We had a veteran 2 weeks ago who had dental issues where we stepped up and helped. So our Sons of the Legion, which has been basically dormant since 1981, I think is when it was chartered. They chartered it and never got it off the ground. Now is growing, and we have new leadership that we brought on board during COVID, and they're starting the Sons of the Legion program, which is, and we go into this whole thing of this is sons, grandsons, male members of descendants of veterans. And somebody asked me the other day, well, can females join? We're going to go into that, and our country's in the middle of this. No, they can't right now because that's what the charter, and the charter is congressionally chartered, so Congress will have to change that. We have 4 females in the organization, 4 moms, wives. Now the American Legion Auxiliary is a little different. That's another organization, which used to be the female side of it. Yeah. Now, last year Congress changed that because we have female soldiers like you with husbands, and it was a spouses organization. So yeah. Now men are allowed into that. So they're with the wheel, recreating and trying to solve problems, but right now it's male only, and whether we like that or not, that's the way it's going to stay until such time as our charter is changed. But we have members of the Sons of the Legion from 74 years old, I think was the oldest person here, down to my son's 11 years old, and they're all people. They come together to assist veterans. Memorial Day this past year, they were out helping with the flags and putting those in the cemeteries, and they've helped with other programs with the distribution of the yearbooks at the school this year. We kind of had to shift how we did things, but bottom line is we put our veterans community first. In fact, when COVID hit, we said, okay, we need to shift our focus to veteran crisis and care and children and youth crisis and care. We went to the school around Thanksgiving, donated 150 food boxes and milk for families in need in Hutchinson. We've helped Mary Hodson down at the chamber with her book and getting that, and we helped sponsor that. In Christmas, we couldn't have our special needs Christmas party for the kids. That's been going on since 1989. Instead of missing it, we worked with the Hutchinson Elks, and we're donating equipment for the inclusive special needs children's park here in town.
Very nice.
And so we just, like I said, pivoted and said, how do we continue doing this and accomplishing our mission? So that's what we've done with the Legion side.
Exactly. One of the things I know that the Legion, I know here, because I don't know about any of the other ones, but they've done a lot of stepping up. You know, it's been a tough year for a lot of people, and the Legion has never closed their doors, and from my understanding, they've never closed a door on one of the veterans.
No, here I know I would refuse to do that. Two, I've been going since COVID started, and I had a talk with my family about health issues, and I have a heart issue, but as I know, I worked with you and Renee on getting masks. We delivered masks and PPE, thanks to 3M, to get to the Hastings Veterans Home and the homes across our state. We have 5 or 6 veterans homes with elderly, our most needy, so I think, I don't know how many masks you ended up making, and face shields, and we'd load them up, and Randy Olson, who's a Legionnaire from the southwest part of the state, we called it kind of the weird underground railroad. We were moving masks and cleaners and all kinds of things to different areas. Our Legion stepped up and saluting community heroes here in town. The Hastings home contacted us, and their internet was going to be cut out because they cut the recreation budget because of COVID. And our Legion and Saluting Community Heroes here in town stepped up and funded the internet access for all the veterans at that location, so they could be on iPads or whatever they needed to be to communicate with their families, which was so important during COVID.
Exactly.
If we transition into Saluting Community Heroes, we couldn't hold Saluting Community Heroes last year, so we ended up doing a 12-hour telethon on Twin Cities Television and across the internet. 12 hours of interviews and talking to people about veterans issues was insane, but well worth it. Saluting Community Heroes has been planned this year. We have Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North coming as our keynote speaker this year. We're doing things, it'll be at the Hutch Event Center right now. We're selling tables right now for sponsors. We're not going to do individual ticket sales till we figure out what the COVID, right now we can have 42 tables with a restricted number of people, so we're going to fall into those guidelines to raise the money we need to raise. And understand, not-for-profits during COVID have lost 75% of donations. Working with the Eagles Healing Nest, I mean, talk about a wing and a prayer. We went from 50, 60 veterans there up over 100 now with crisis issues.
And then with funding being down.
With funding being down, Melanie Butler, and you've had Melanie on your show. You know, Melanie always says on a wing and a prayer, we've had to grow some big wings this year and do a heck of a lot more praying. But I go up there once a week now. The Welcome Home Vet program, which we established from Hutch, actually has offices there now. We're assisting veterans there with transition out of the Eagles Healing Nest because it's a second chance at life for them.
Exactly.
And Melanie saw that as a very positive program. So we've got veterans there. We're doing training programs, so we have veterans rebuilding computers. They're making Raspberry Pis, which are this little new technology computers. We're doing drone flight training for veterans there. We have carpentry going on there, rock cutting for jewelry making. We've just added more and more things. In fact, the Legion here in Hutch donated money to buy a professional rock cutter so they could make nicer jewelry. And they're selling that to subsidize the location and to assist. It's mostly the elderly vets who make those. And for them it's therapy. And so we decided, I asked the Legion, I said, here's what they're looking for, and they just said, go buy it. Let's do it. COVID also, our Legion just invested in a 16-foot trailer with help from the Blandon Foundation. I attended Blandon Foundation Leadership, World Leadership, right before COVID hit.
I remember you were talking about that back in May.
They have grant funding available, so I applied for a grant. Now we have a 16-foot trailer. I worked with Hart out of the Twin Cities, which distributes food and building equipment for not-for-profits, so we'll be able to go up there once every 2 weeks, load up. They throw pallets of food in. We actually had to get a heavy-duty trailer because we carry 5-6 pallets of frozen food or or we just took 2,000 square feet of flooring up to the Eagles Healing Nest to redo their kitchens and redo their auditorium. So it's been a whirlwind year. If somebody said, hey, write all this stuff down, in fact, I was doing Legion reports before I got here, and I was like, okay, I gotta stop now. But there's just so much with the help of Legionnaires, our VFW, our DAV, all the organizations, Saluting Community Heroes, Shad Ketcher over at, another veteran. If I asked Shad,
County Services.
we had a female veteran who needed military sexual therapy. She was raped when she was in the military. She needed assistance. Couldn't find it. The VA didn't have a specialist who specialized in what she needed. We located a specialist, contacted her. They met each other, got along, started healing, and we paid for it.
That's great.
And that's what we're going to continue to do.
Exactly. I know one of the things that, I when we talk, we talk a lot about the different programs that are going on and things like this. And out here, one of the things I think that we've all learned is that we work all better together. Instead of saying, okay, well, you do this part and you do this part, it's like, okay, what can we do to help you?
Pete Stolt now is the commander over at the VFW. Van Karg, we have a great relationship over at the DAV, and we all know what we're best at.
Yeah.
That we take turns with the Memorial Day. This year, Memorial Day is going to be held. The DAV's in charge of it, and we just say, what do you need to help?
Yeah.
It goes back to, and Lisa, this is easy, and I say it to everybody, it goes back to we're all veterans. We have no borders. We protected the freedoms of Americans, and now we protect each other. It's that simple. I went to South Dakota, and I don't even know what month this is anymore. I know it was warm. And there was a veteran threatening suicide south of Mitchell, South Dakota, and I hopped in the truck and drove 4.5 hours, picked him up. He was in a not great state, brought him back to the Eagles Healing Nest, who protected him. The veterans there put him on suicide watch for 24 hours until we could get him to the VA the next day. Yeah. The VA had the wherewithal to listen and actually prescribed him the right assistance, and he and his wife are back together, and his family had an 8-year-old and 11-year-old who are experiencing dad disappearing and going to end his life.
Exactly.
And now you have a family. In fact, Christmas time they sent a photo of them in leaves playing together.
Oh, nice.
And I talk to them often. We had a veteran a couple of weeks ago in our area who checked into a 90-day treatment. Just checked in. He was the major breadwinner. Talked to Tom Clabo, our gambling manager, and put $250 of food into his family's refrigerator while he is the major breadwinner. So we just keep going. And I mentioned Saluting Community Heroes earlier. It's great to have that available funding to assist, and the Legion, the VFW. So thank you to everybody in Hutchinson who does pull tabs. I mean, on the electronic gaming, that all goes back into our community. Yes, the state probably takes a little more than they should, but we'll get that changed eventually. We work legislatively too.
Yeah.
But the amount of funds put back into this community by the veterans organizations, if you go to Veterans Baseball Field, if you go, all the programs we're trying to assist churches, whatever it might be in the community, that's our mission. So mark your calendars. Saluting Community Heroes is the Thursday night after Veterans Day, so the 18th of November. Yeah. Let me see, May 23rd we'll be doing the dedication of the flags and the service pavilion now at Veterans Memorial Field. We're working right now with some Major League Baseball players who are coming to help with the dedication.
And that is located right across from
the main entrance of 3M. Yep. Okay. There'll actually be a baseball game. The American Legion supported Legion baseball since 1925 here in Hutch. World War II veterans came back and built the fields here and basically built it and then donated it to the city for $1.
And I'm sorry, who is going to be out there?
I'm not going to say yet because we have several options. John Arnold, who's done a great job in our community, he's a 3M guy. He's a Sons of Legion member. Is a big baseball guy. And when I told him that one of the names of the people we're looking at, he pretty much said, "If you get him here, oh my goodness." And I've been talking to this baseball player. Let's just say he played the record number of baseball games without an injury. So if he's coming, we'll get indications of that. I work with my wife on Relay for Life, and she got put in charge of entertainment and with
nice.
what we do in the veterans community. So the Relay for Life is going to happen this year, and I know the veterans are going to be involved in that because we have veterans who experience cancer, and there's no reason a city, and I'll be honest with you and I'll say it, there's no reason a city of Hutchinson's size with 14,000 people, all of us who have been touched by cancer in one way or the other, can't be out in August supporting one night or buy a luminary for the Relay for Life. We just went through COVID and everybody tucked tails and fear and panic, and we still don't realize that cancer kills 10 times as many people a year as COVID ever did. If you want to put $1 into protecting your life, somebody put it during COVID the best way. You put $75 a month into your car. Changing oil, changing spark plugs, checking your tires, all that. How much are you going to put into your health? You know, if you donate to the Cancer Society and they're able to come up with a vaccine or a cure for cancer, for $1 a year, is that worth it? I mean, you buy eyeliner for $5 and you look great, but sure doesn't stop cancer.
Exactly.
So
it doesn't help as far as establishing something going on in the community either.
Exactly. And people say you're blunt. But I am. I'll call somebody out for that. I mean, this past year we've invested into our own health. And it was one of the best things we ever did. Our mental health, our spiritual health, our financial health, all of those things become so important. And we forget about them because we get tucked into this, wake up, eat breakfast, go to work, go home, watch TV, maybe say 5 words to the kids. And everybody goes to bed. That's not life.
No.
And when you're out volunteering, it's the gratitude you feel. And,
oh, exactly.
And you know, I don't have many meetings a month, but the meetings I have are so refreshing. They fill my soul. And as a guy with a heart issue, that's where I put all my work now, is into the soul.
Exactly.
When God's done with me, and I say, you know what, I'm tired, I'll go there.
Yeah.
But right now, I've got work to do here.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It's like, that's why I love doing this show, is because this is something that helps me to help maybe reach out and help somebody else.
Well, and hopefully it helps, you know, veterans and people in our community when they see these kind of things and say, what can I do to help? Which I get asked a lot, and not-for-profits or people in the community say, how do you get people active? How do you get, and I said, you have a lot of people asking how you can help, how they can help. The worst answer you can tell them is, I don't know, because everyone has a talent. Yeah. So we have to ask those fact-finding, probing questions of what can you do to help? What talents do you have?
Oh, exactly.
And
well, you never know until you start asking.
Exactly. So when you get those people who say, yeah, I want to help. Okay, how would you like to help? You can donate, you can give time, you can, it goes back to the old PTO president. I was a PTO president, and we couldn't get anybody to really do anything. So I said, let's make phone calls.
Yep.
But we're going to ask them to be PTO president next year. And then when they say no, we're going to ask them to be the secretary. When they say no, we're going to ask them to bake a cake. We had too many cakes.
Yep.
Because once we got to the cake level, everybody was willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to if you can't bake a cake, why don't you donate the money for a cake? Well, we used to, the school used to sell pizzas and those trinket things for $20, and you'd get like $4 at the end of the fundraiser.
Yep.
We'd make like $5,000 in a fundraiser for the school. When we did that, we made $24,000 for the school. We were able to put a complete new playground equipment in, put all whiteboards in the school. We had too much money. It was like, okay, what do we do with it now? But people were more than happy to give $20 that they knew was going to stay in the school. And that's when I talked to, in fact, I met a veteran from Hutchinson up at an event, and he said, I read what the Legion does. I read what you're doing in the community. How can I help? Well, first of all, you can be a member. You don't have to volunteer any time, but what that money does is it helps in our legislative, it helps veterans in the VA. I know the American Legion Department donated a bunch of iPads for veterans at the Minneapolis VA so they can be in contact with their family or have something to do.
Exactly.
And a lot of those individuals are alone. So we just open doors, and we have to be able to ask people to help us open them.
One of the last times that we got a stimulus check, you kind of sent on a call of, okay, well, when you get the stimulus check, can we get 10%? Can we get 10% to go to, I believe it was the food drives.
Yep.
So I think we should try that again.
Well, we have that stimulus funds, and you know what, to be honest with you, some people, the stimulus is, we can put it in I don't want to go into politics, but some people say, I don't want stimulus, I don't want the government sending me money, we're going to pay for that forever. Okay, we can have that argument on the street.
It's already done.
It's already done. Our Congress has done that.
Yeah.
So, I put that out last time. Okay, let's take 10% of it and put it back into our veterans community or into a child who can't afford it. And believe me, we had 150 kids come through, with cars through that line, and to see a little child in Hutchinson, Minnesota, start crying and say, "Mom, we have food for Thanksgiving," it right here, and we're looking at, we just got a $1,400 stimulus check. We're talking $140 of it that will feed a child, that will take care of. We had a veteran, like I said, who couldn't get his dental work finished. The great part is one of the Hutchinson dental clinics reached out because of Saluting Community Heroes, and they've donated to Saluting Community Heroes in the past. Reached out to me and said, "We have a vet in crisis. He can't get his dental work finished, and he's going to have infection and pain because the VA couldn't cover the whole voucher. And we need to do some verification stuff." We call our veteran service officer, Jim, or Cassandra. Cassandra is deployed now, so we have a new female veteran service officer here in the county, and I apologize if I say, I know her last name is Lauer because it's the same as Jim, but they're not related. I was told that right away. And I want to say her first name is Bianca, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
So forgive me if I did that wrong, but she will be filling Cassandra's shoes. But even the veteran who we helped a couple weeks ago with the alcoholism issue, he was in his 40s and hadn't talked to his VSO. Once he talked to his VSO, we were able to get him COVID assistance because he had children. So that was $3,000 plus another $1,000 on top of that because he was homeschooling kids. We were able to help him with Legion funds to get food. We were able to get him 100% disability for 90 days while he's in treatment, even though we didn't know if it was service connected, but the VA, working through the VSO, they can sort that out later, but right now we needed to get 6 kids and his wife taken care of.
Exactly.
While he was taking care of himself. And when we think in those terms, we say, what's $140 do? You wouldn't believe what it would do. So yeah, I'll put that call out again any day of the week. You can send it to the American Legion Foundation. You can send it to Saluting Community Heroes. They're both charitable organizations here in town, which 501c3. I'll get it backwards. I know many organizations in this town, the 40 and 8, which is a small group of men and women who are veterans, do a lot with the nursing program.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody says, "Oh, how can we help nurses? Nurses are heroes." Give to the 40 and 8 and help them train more nurses.
Exactly.
And they work with children in Americanism programs. So if we're doing anything today, we're at least educating people that, listen, we have great groups in this town. I just did the Children and Youth Report. The American Legion this year, I think just from the math, and I'm sketchy because I filled out like 10 things, we're over $22,000 this year in children and youth, just donations to programs.
That is fantastic.
And then you take the VFW, which is, I think last year we figured it out that the veterans organizations in Hutchinson were somewhere close to a little under $250,000 investing into our community. So
That is just fantastic. And it's definitely needed. But you can tell, it shows. You're reaching out, you're helping people, you're getting it to where it needs to go. And a lot of times, a lot of people, depending upon what you're doing in life, you don't always see where this stuff goes and who needs it. But the need is there.
one of the things as a not-for-profit you learn really quickly, if you don't, you fail, is to communicate with the people who are giving to you and let them know where their money's going. And thanking them. And the thank you is by saying, we didn't spend your money on a memorial down here to this individual. We spent it on when I was district vice commander, and I went to another post, and they said, well, we do funerals for veterans. And I said, well, what else do you do? We do funerals. I said, why don't we work now on keeping them alive so you don't have to do so many funerals?
Exactly.
And okay, I got some strange looks, and then I got the,
Funerals are good. They're a
the
great thing
respect,
to
the
do.
Memorial Rifle Squad, the respect, the 21 gun, all of that is definitely one of the nicest things and one of the most respectful things we do when we lose a veteran.
Exactly.
But it's not the only thing, and we can do things to help before we lose them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we lost 4 veterans to suicide last month in Minnesota. We lost another individual who, well, 1980 Olympic team, Mark Pavlich, was at the Eagle Ceiling Nest and had mental health crisis issues, and the media chased him around because he was famous.
Yeah.
And he was trying to deal with the crisis of losing his wife 2 years ago to an accident, and we got a call if he would be safe there. Well, there's no safer place to be than around 100 veterans.
Oh, exactly. You're protected.
You are a brother.
Yep.
And he became a brother, and I met Mark several times, and mental health took him a couple weeks ago. He is a hero. I mean, I'm a Cold War veteran, and in 1980, the United States beating Russia in the Olympics on the hockey rink was huge for this country.
Definitely.
So, my condolences to Mark and his family, and I think showing respect for people like that, we don't lose many, but when we do, we all cry for them.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. Well, I can see we're just about out of time here, so anything else you want to throw in here? And
Well, the big dates are May 23rd at Veterans Memorial Baseball Field. I think the Huskies play that night, and I'm sure they're going to have some Legion stuff going on.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you who the speaker is because
I
we're
won't
not sure
twist your
yet.
arm.
We haven't got everything signed and dotted.
Yep.
The Saluting Community Heroes event. If businesses in Hutch, well, I know 3M's already reached out, and some of the other people who have supported in the past have been reaching out saying, I know Oliver North is bringing autographed Marine K-bar knives and his new book, which is going to be autographed, and he's spending time with everybody there that night. He's a very social, that's the whole Iran-Contra thing back in the 80s. And that was one of those forgiven, throw the military guy under the train, politicians throwing the military guy under the bus. So it'll be an interesting night. He's a very dynamic individual. I've had the opportunity to speak with him, and like Taya Kyle last year, we've got some great people coming in who support this event, and there's no better way for a business to get out and show their support for our veterans community, which is probably 15% of the Hutch population, than by helping out.
Exactly, exactly. So help out where you can, and if you can't, and you need help, there are people to call for that.
Yeah, and we're on Facebook, so we post a lot on Facebook, so Post 96 Hutchinson on Facebook. We have a hutchlegion.org is the other site. I know the VFW Post 906 has their site with their information in Facebook. All these organizations are available. I know we're in the online, just type in Post 96 and you'll get the phone number if you have a crisis. And I'll end with this. If you're a veteran in crisis or a veteran family in crisis and you need assistance, you just look us. I've got the phone number memorized, or you can call my phone number. I have a private phone, and I'm going to give it out because I take calls 24 hours a day. My name is Tim Burley. I'm the commander of the Post 96. My number is 320-292-9947. Please reach out. You're not alone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here today and helping everybody understand a little bit more about what's going on in our community.
Any kind of information we can get out is a plus.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.